There we go. Okay. All right. So greetings, Tracey. Happy blessed Sunday, everybody. So this is Body-Culinary, and today is one of the days that I'm just opening up and sharing some of the coaching that we do on Sundays with my elite. Not a lot of folks. There's not a lot of folks that want to get up early, but that's okay. So today, this is Body Culinary for those of you that are new to this channel, also known as Pasta Peaceful Eating on social media. I'm a professional chef, personal trainer. I'm a natural born woman. Shout out to you, whatever your expression is. And on this channel, I share some of my journey of radical self acceptance, being really celebrating and being creative with the features I have been divinely assigned. And on my channel, I share 3 leverage lifestyle practices. I call them leverage because they give you back so much more for the investment of your time, your energy, your focus, and attention, especially while you're on the internet. Hopefully, you're getting something back for the hours and hours of time that you are spending on the internet because it's not free. Um, Everything that you're clicking on, your time, your energy, and attention, that data is being mined and sold to companies so they know how to market products to you. So, welcome. Please comment respectfully. Subscribe. Today, I'm going to have some of my coaching folks on, and I have one of my road warriors, Tracey Ford, on, who has been working with me. So, we're going to be rapping and just connecting about her experience. Hey, greetings, Rose. With me, sharing, she's going to be sharing with us graciously some of her experience. We're also going to be talking about why is it so hard for so many of us to, quote unquote, as people say, lose weight. I invite you to consider releasing weight, right? Because organizing things in your brain can make a big difference in you being able to access change. So welcome, Tracey.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, yes. It's been a long time. Well, it's been a while since we've been working together. So, can you tell us a little bit about yourself? You don't have to tell us all your business, but can you share with us a little bit about yourself?
Okay, so I am a wife, a mother, and in January of 2022, I decided that I was going to um, kind of redeem some of my time for myself and put myself ahead of others. And I doing that by working on weight release, weight loss, making a change. But my approach was I, I felt like it was the kind of the last ditch effort. If this didn't work, I don't know what would work. And my goals were to really to get off of medication. And then I knew I needed to make a commitment to myself. So I decided I was going to start and stick with it. I first met uh, Delilah Fitness. She was doing a raw vegan challenge, and I took part in that. I was like, I can do anything for 7 days. Did that. So from January to April, I only changed what I ate, and I lost about 25 um, pounds of. I know most of it was water weight, but I did.
But
And
you said
then
from January to April? January,
yes,
February, March, April. So in 4 months.
so in 4 months, I lost about 25 pounds, really saw a change in the way I felt, the way that discovered new things about food. I wasn't much of a cook before, but got excited about finding different foods in my local grocery store, all of those things. And so it was just kind of just a new way of uh, living, really.
Mhm.
Then in April, I was introduced to you to start my movement practice. Delilah, we did coaching, and she would ask me every week, "Are you moving, Miss Ward?" And I was like, "No, I'm not moving. I'm not doing anything. I'm gonna get to it. I'm gonna get to it." And so, had every excuse in the world. Not athletic. I don't have time. I'm tired. Whatever. Didn't want to go to the gym. All of the things. Um, well, I think April, around that time, you were doing coaching and doing movement practice in the mornings. And you said, I'll, I move every morning at 5 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I was like, I can do that before I go to work. Let me check it out. And I made a commitment to myself that I would stick with it for a year.
Hmm.
So by the end of 2022, I had, so I started, I should say that my starting weight was 218. I think by the end of
And how
2020,
tall are you?
I'm 5'4".
Hmm.
And by the end of 2022, I think I was at 170, maybe. I can double check that. So I lost a significant amount of weight in that time period. And so at this point, it has become a lifestyle. So right now, I'm about between 155 and 160, and we're working on changing my composition, but it really has become a lifestyle. I won't say that I am completely raw vegan. I am not that. I am not. I do eat. So the way I say it is, I eat more fruits and vegetables. And I have added a movement practice a day. Well, not even, I can't even say daily. I do get on with you most days of the week. So Monday through Thursday, definitely, sometimes on Fridays, and sometimes I do some extra stuff on the weekends. So my progress is probably slower than it would have been if I was moving every single day. And if I wasn't, if I did make some other changes, but the changes that I've made have been significant, and some definite results because of it. All natural, no powders, no supplements,
No
no,
Ozempic? No Ozempic?
no, no pills, no powders,
No protein powder?
no protein powders, no protein powders. And I was taking protein powder shakes before, and they weren't working for me. It just wasn't working. So yeah, I think that's it. I think I covered all the things.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, you covered a lot. So, um, what would you say were like your three top concerns for embarking on this self care in terms of fitness? Was changing your food and then fitness. What were your top three concerns?
So changing my food, as far as, like I said, I could do anything for 7 days. That was the initial um, raw vegan. So for me, because I am a colon cancer survivor, I didn't eat very much red meat
Hmm.
before. I did eat chicken and fish, and I still do, but very little, very, very little.
So,
Um,
so just to make some distinctions for folks, because a lot of times in exercises or instructors talk about exercise, speaking all these Latin terms,
right.
right?
Mhm.
That people are not familiar with, like move your latissimus dorsi and so on. And then I think also when people are sharing about their transformation journey, I think sometimes some of the details
Mhm.
are left out, and so people get confused, or they go and they buy more powders and they
Right.
buy more stuff. So I love distinctions, because distinctions I think help provide a lot of clarity. And I like to say distinctions make the difference, because we can all assume that we're doing the same thing, the same exercise. Yet if I line five women up next to each other and doing the same exercise, yet they're getting different results for different reasons. They can all think they're eating the same food, or everybody underweight, overweight, in between will say, I don't eat much, right?
Mhm.
Or they will say, I eat healthy, which can be very ambiguous and leaves out a lot of details. And I think that's really important, especially for women, because when we spend a lot of money on clothes, on makeup, hair, skin, and one of the biggest things is for weight loss, right? And
Right.
sometimes we're using the different things, our hair and our skin, to cover up, not necessarily feeling comfortable in our natural shell.
Right. And so,
So,
like I said before, I had tried protein powders, and I was even one of those people that would say, "Well, I don't eat very much. I eat like one meal a day," and but I would tell you that it wasn't the healthiest choice. This journey has let me open my eyes to the fact that eating outside of my home, in general, there are very few options to get fresh vegetables and fresh fruit into your diet in the ways that are even recommended for us. And so, and most salads outside of the house, like fast food places, not a salad. Anyway, so I digress. But with that distinction, I would be one of those people that said, well, I didn't, I don't eat a lot. I don't understand why I'm not losing the weight, or I'm not doing these things. However, I was clearly doing something that was hindering me from seeing any kind of results. So, what I found is following the meal plan that um, the following that meal plan, I was eating a lot more food than I had been before. But
That's a big distinction.
it's a big
So you were
distinction,
eating more food, but the types of food and the freshness of the food,
right?
big difference.
Yes, it was a
Mm-hmm.
big difference. So that's a mind shift change too, because we every time we talk about weight loss, or the way that I've been conditioned to talk about weight loss, is you eat less, or you decrease your calories. So you think about it that way. So that's a change of your mind, and you realize that the food keeps you satisfied a lot longer than the other food. So you could go, I'll use a type of food that people eat all the time, like Chinese food or Mexican, and you eat it and you're like, oh, a couple of hours later, I felt hungry again. Well, when you think about what your choices are, or what you may have chosen in that meal and why you were hungry later on, um, then it makes sense, because it's not as what you call nutritionally dense. It didn't have the fiber or all of those things, which are not things that you think about, um, or even are conditioned to think about in most weight loss programs.
Uh-oh. I think that thing went out for a second. Okay. You still there, Tracy?
Oh, hi. I'm here. I'm here.
Hey, Stacey. I think Tracy's her computer went out for a second, so maybe she'll come right back. So Tracy was sharing with us today, like some of her journey and some of her transformation, which I think is like really helpful to somebody. So maybe she'll sign out and sign back in. So again, if you're new to this country, shout out to Alex Lima in Brazil. Good afternoon. Shout out to Rose, sending you some warm positive vibrations. Today we have some of the folks that are in coaching with me every week share just about their journey. So make sure to sign out and sign. Hey, greetings, Alex. So today, Tracy was sharing some of her transformation, and I just want to make note that Tracy, like myself, we are. I don't talk about it a lot, but we are in the second half of our life. So we are in our 50s. I was not athletic growing up as a child. Tracy also was not athletic. I have half of a thyroid, so I gain weight very, very easily. I come from a background, a family pattern of morbid obesity, diabetes. I had to go get the insulin for my grandma out of the refrigerator every day, high blood pressure, um, the comorbidities that travel in packs, diabetes, heart disease, high blood pressure. And these are what are considered red flags, right? Markers, right? For what's coming down the line. So the comorbidities, they travel in packs. And usually there are certain signs that we can see in the body that are forecasting what we have to look forward to. So I think it can perhaps be very helpful and significant to see that there are some women that weren't raised on athletic teams, right? I was not. I would have loved if somebody had told me about athletics, but I wasn't athletic. I have half of a thyroid. I come from a Caribbean and a Southern background, so I grew up on two different flavors of pig feet. I like to eat, and I've also been raised and conditioned with a pattern of self-soothing and sedating with food. That does not make us bad. That does not make us wrong. And I want to say flat out that all of who we are is not a number on a scale. That would be like me saying that my family members that are 200 or 300 pounds, that they have no value. That is absolutely, that's ridiculous, right? So we all have inherent value, whatever your body looks like. I've been several different types of compositions, all natural due to whatever kind of physical activity. But all of who I am is not based on what I look like. And as somebody that's been a fitness competitor that has been very, very ripped to shreds, I can tell you a lot of women think that all of your problems are going to be solved when you lose weight. But people would approach me even in a professional gym. The first thing they would say, oh, I want your arm. I want your, but actually at some point it was even a bit of a turnoff because the first thing people see in a culture that is so obsessed and preoccupied with looks that people wouldn't even see you. All they see is your body parts, right? So I can say that as somebody that's competed in fitness, but I just want to encourage women out there who may be over 35, over 40, even in your 50s. I can tell you as somebody that's been in the food and fitness industry, healthy food and fitness industry for 35 years plus, that there are some consistent patterns as to why people get results, as to why people don't get results, as to why people sustain results. And it is totally, totally possible to transform your body composition, right? I invite you to consider thinking bigger than just weight loss because there's some blind spots in there and some distinctions. So Tracey is on with us today, and another one of the people that coaches me, Stacy. And Tracey, you just sharing before we got cut off. So
Yes, I'm sorry, and I forgot where I was. But I was just saying that.
From Brazil, Tracey. Alex is greeting you from Brazil.
Greetings. But yeah, I was just saying that the just the changes that I saw in the food, that I was more satiated or fuller. I felt fuller and I was eating more food than I had been previously. And then but when I started moving with you, um when I started moving, I was at ground zero. Like I was not doing anything, nothing. I couldn't do a push up. I
You
struggled
couldn't
to
do
do,
not one push up.
no, I couldn't do one push up. I struggled to, I struggled to carry my body weight, period. Like just moving in general. Balance was off, all of those things. And there were many times that I wanted to stop, but I kept saying my commitment was I'm going to stick with this for a year. No matter what, I'm going to do it. I'm going to show up every day for a year and see what happens in the end. So now I went from not being able to do any push ups to being able to at least do 10 in a row without dying. From doing not hating burger.
Wait,
Oh, I
stand
still
full or kneeling?
10 full. Yeah. At least minimum, even though you had me do more, but we're gonna stay right there.
But hold on, you glossing over that, right? To go from not being able to hold your body weight up to do 10 full push-ups.
Mm-hmm.
Before you got to the 10 full push-ups, remember we have benchmarks, right? We have benchmarks. You did 5 sets of 20. I think we might even gone past. We might even got up to 120 push-ups. Yes. That is no small feat, and I think that speaks a lot to consistency over time. So 10 pull-ups came from not one push-ups, and that's also within a year. That's actually, I'm saying this to someone that's worked with athletes and been coaching for a long time. That speaks to the power of consistency. And most folks start, like we're going into New Year's again, same thing every year. People start with a lot of enthusiasm and get new sneakers and heart rate monitors and glow in the dark stuff around their waist. But usually the middle and the end is when people fizzle out because life happens and the momentary enthusiasm wears off, right? So I think you want to speak to that? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that is also for me, one of the biggest things was I could do it in my house. I did not have to leave my house. So let me just tell you again how pitiful it was. I shouldn't say pitiful. In the beginning, I was so not so against moving that I had to for that first couple of weeks, I literally slept in my workout clothes so that I didn't have that excuse of I didn't want to have to change to start working out. And that may seem really silly, but it was a mind shift again for me. And I had to take it one step at a time. And that's one of the things I would say, one of the biggest takeaways that I've had is from you is approaching things small, a little bit at a time to make it achievable goal. So I have a goal. And so my goal was to show up. So this is how I was going to show up. And one of my excuses before was I didn't want to change my clothes. So I didn't want to have to, like, you go to the gym, you put on clothes to go to the gym, then you shower and then change your clothes and go to work. Well, by me doing it at home, I eliminated all of that. So then I eliminated the one step. The second step was the change from my night clothes to my gym clothes. So if I wear my gym clothes to bed, then I just roll out of bed and exercise. So again, it may sound silly, but that's what worked for me. So now it's not a problem. I don't have to do that anymore. But those small changes has helped to make it sustainable. Um, so
That's you. So to me, what I hear, somebody that's willing to sleep in their workout clothes in order to make it to the workout, uh, that says a lot about what you're willing to give up or to be uncomfortable or even to address our own internal dialogue, our own self judgment. Because I hear like sleeping in your workout clothes, our own internal dialogue. That's silly. That's stupid, right? I was like, no, I'm sleeping in my workout clothes. All I have to do is roll over, grab my water and go. And that's really huge. That's significant. That's like, it's these little things, right? These little nuances that make all the difference. I see distinct patterns in people who are able to maintain a healthy weight as well as a healthy body composition and to continue to see improvement throughout the years, right? I always keep people, I call them my back pocket coaches. And also, I've always, since a young woman, been fascinated by women who are much older, like in their 50s, 60s, 70s, 80, up to 100, right? Essence Magazine used to do a spread on women that look good for their age, and I used to cut the pictures out because I was looking to see, well, what is the trajectory for my life going to be? So I was very keen to see, what are they eating? Are they happy? Are they dancing? What are their activities? Because I was comparing that to many of the women immediately in my immediate community and also in my family. So although I really care for my blood family, I was wondering, when I looked at older pictures of my grandma and my auntie, and they were slim like this and their little poodle skirts, and then to watch their bodies become so misshapen, right?
right.
Um, I was like, is that going to be me? I couldn't articulate it as a little girl, but I was like, is that what's waiting for me? So I kept watching with the wide eyes of a child to look for patterns. So somehow my eye is very peeled to patterns and distinctions to see what is missing. I call it quite often the blind spots, right? There's plenty of people that go to the gym every day. As someone that's working in a gym, usually have clients breakfast before work, lunchtime, and dinner after work. So throughout the year, when the clients leave, I get to see the next crew coming in, and I get to see my colleagues, their clients. I'm always looking at the patterns, and trainers will compare. Say, "Wow, your client's looking really good. What are they doing?" We compare notes with really good trainers. They're setting up a training program for you. There's a science to exercise selection. A lot of times we would have roundtables and discussions on corrective exercises. If you're working with somebody that has a disability, somebody that's on medications, right? I worked at a really, really top gym. And we constantly have continuing education, but also roundtables and also just pick each other's brain. Like, what are you doing? How did you shift this person? Or this person with two other trainers they never saw change before. What are they doing differently? What is the blind spot, right? So on that note, I'm curious, Tracey, what did you try before? Have you tried any different types of weight loss programs or exercise or had different gym memberships before?
Yeah. So I had, been a member of a gym, and that was always intimidating to me. Each time I would try, that was always intimidating because you go in and yeah, I can walk on the treadmill, but you're just walking on a treadmill. Then what am I supposed to do with all these machines? And you get in the machine and you're like, am I really being effective? How long am I supposed to do this? What weight am I supposed to do it at? And yeah, you can get somebody to show you, but if they don't seem to have a vested that my experience was they didn't just seem to have an interest in what my specific needs were. And it part of it was me. I wasn't there. And I even had
What do you mean by you weren't there?
I wasn't there in terms of um the type of commitment that it needs. I couldn't just be haphazardly showing up. It's like, okay, today I'm going to work out and think that whatever I did that day was going to give me the results that I need. I just wasn't mentally in that space. I was always in a space of, I would let life um, push me to the back burner. It was like something would come up and I would just quit because I let that other thing become more important than myself. And so, and it was easy. It was easy to run away from what I was intimidated by. So, like I said, I was intimidated by the gym. I had actually probably about a year, so in, is it 21 maybe? No, maybe it was before the pandemic. I was working with a young personal trainer, and uh, again, I wasn't quite ready. I wasn't committed, but I knew that I needed a combination of the movement and the food. And they weren't able to provide the food piece for me. And I couldn't um, get that under control either, and at the time. And so some of the things that they showed me are things that I can see a difference in now. But so what they helped me to see is that I'm capable of doing some of the exercises, even though I may not have known how to do them. If that makes sense. So I think that's another thing is having that confidence to know, oh, I can do this. You know, even though, like I said, I couldn't do a push up, they helped me to see that, yeah, at some point you can do a push up, but I didn't believe it. And so I would have to say that I um, want to give them credit for being a part of this journey for me, because without that push or confidence from them initially, I don't know if I would have that would have translated into where I am now or when I started working with you. Um,
So that means every single investment that you made in your health, you were able to capitalize off of it, right? Each little
yes.
thing, you were still able to see, like, compare and contrast what you did with that trainer, and take that
Mhm.
knowledge base and just grow off of
Right.
it, right?
Yes. Yeah. And the same thing even with eating, because you realize like you try different programs. Like I said, I was doing protein powders. Well, I realized the protein powders don't work for me, or the ones that I was choosing didn't work for me.
Mm.
Or um, things like counting the calories or counting these points and all those things. It seemed like it was more work for
Was it
me.
overwhelming?
It was overwhelming. It
Mm.
would just seem like it was just adding one more task, and I didn't want another task. Um, Whereas what was presented with Delilah, it wasn't another task. Yeah, I had to go shopping, and yeah, I had to prepare the food, but it made sense. It wasn't hard. It wasn't a drudgery. I actually found enjoyment in it, which, like I said, I was not a cook. So being in the kitchen is not my favorite thing to do. I've spent more time in the kitchen over the past 2 years than I have in the past. My husband and I have been married 30 years. So in the whole time that we've been together, and he will tell you that.
You say that you're not a cook?
Mm-mm. I mean, I can cook clearly, but that was not my favorite thing to do. So I didn't hang out in the kitchen. You have some people that like to hang out in the kitchen. That is not my favorite
Got
thing to
you.
do.
Okay. So now, what are some benchmarks, right, in terms of numbers or things? I like to call this body is a business, right? So we don't want this to be shut down. Department of Health to come in and shut down this business, right?
Right.
So in a business, you usually have like you have your meetings. You come in with all your managers. And you come in and you run the numbers and you run the reports so you can assess and see how you're doing with the business. If you're being effective and efficient with the tools and the things, the structure that you have put in place, so you can see if the business is growing, or you can see if tools that you've implemented, if they're working, if you need to swap them out for something else. So in this business of your body, what are some of the tools that you've learned and that you started implementing so you can see your progress? And I really want to make that distinction because there are usually several reasons why people will give up or stop, right? Because many people say, "Oh, I had a trainer back in the days. Oh, I had a gym. I had like I don't know 4 or 5 gym membership cards in my wallet." They've tried every hot thing that has come out. Yet most people, even with the fasting, right? Because I'm a trained nutritional fasting instructor, right? One of my mentors, I don't talk about it a lot, was Tina Cool, who's very trending and popular. But I was with her back in the early 90s. Yeah, I'm already dating myself. But there are usually several benchmarks and reasons and blind spots as to why people don't maintain. So at Heal That Self, we often conducted a 1 day shut-in, 1 day fast, a 3 day, a 7 day, a 21 day, a 48 day. Every now and then, you would see somebody do 100 days of nutritional fasting. That's a big distinction between just fasting, because fasting is also very popular now. And I like to say we don't deprive our bodies of nutrition at all. So, in terms of some tools that you've used and that you've learned to use, what are some accountability tools or some ways to measure progress that you've implemented?
So a couple of them. One, during our workouts or our movement practice, we use a heart rate monitor. So that has helped me to see um, really what my heart is doing while we're working out. So when we first started, my heart rate would get really high really quickly. Like I said, I couldn't hold myself up. I would get winded doing, you know, anything. And now um, I'm struggling to get my heart rate to go up. And like we're doing some different movements to try to work on getting it up. But
So
but
hold on. So distinction now, because see the layperson, and you have a whole nother frame of reference now.
I
Now, your heart rate not going up quick is an indicator of what?
that my heart is stronger, that is
You're
healthy.
healthier. Now,
Yes.
are you working hard still, though? Are you working
Yeah,
hard?
I'm still working hard. I'm sweating a river. Don't twist it. Yeah, I'm still working hard. But so my heart rate would go up with anything like, and I haven't tried this, but I will one day go into the gym. Prior to doing any of this, if I got on a stairmaster, like after a couple of steps, I would feel like I'm just gonna have a heart. I'm just gonna pass out right now.
Mm.
So it would be interesting for me to go into a gym and get on a stairmaster now to see if what my how my body reacts to that. So that's something I'll try. But with that, we have our little step up box, just a little stool.
Yeah, I Harriet Tubman Stairmaster.
Right. So that little step up box at first, when we first started working out, for me to do step ups on that, and we would just do like 10, 15. I thought I was just gonna lose it. And my heart rate would just go so high. But now we would have to do several sets of that step up.
About
Even
how
20,
many? So
15.
before you started,
We
you
do
said
20.
15, right? So now
Yeah,
you can do like I think we've gone up to like 3 to 4 sets of 30 reps
30 reps. Yeah.
from 10 to 15. That's a big difference. That's a
Mhm.
benchmark,
Yeah,
right?
and so to be able to do that now, and my heart rate my heart rate, it doesn't rise until we get to the fourth or fifth set. It's just like it is just kind of amazing. So the heart rate monitor has been a really good tool to help me see what the different movement patterns and how it um, affects my heart and how my heart has changed. The other one, I purchased a scale that not only measures my weight, but helps me to see what my BMI is, my um, body fat percentage, the water, how much water I have, my muscle mass, all of those numbers. So that's been really helpful to see the difference because um, it does a comparison. So as my weight is going down, then I can see how the other numbers are changing. So my BMI, my body fat percentage, just to see that number and see the difference in.
Is it color coded?
Yes, it's color coded. So when I started, I think it's like 14 different things. Almost everything was red. Everything.
That's like in the danger zone.
Danger zone, red. Um, let's see if I can pull it up now. Almost everything was red. Now I have like my BMI, no, my body fat percentage is the only thing that's still in the red.
Mm-hmm.
Um, according to the scale, so it's either red, yellow, or green. So yellow, I have three things in yellow, which is my weight, my BMI, and the subcutaneous fat. And then
Which,
everything
by the way,
else.
subcutaneous means right underneath the skin. There's
Mhm.
also subcutaneous, there's deep subcutaneous, and it's also visceral fat, which is the most dangerous, which is wrapped around the organ.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And so that scale has been helpful to me because like I may see in the mirror or I look at the scale and it may say that I'm putting on weight or um, then I can tell the difference of whether it's water weight or if it is actual. I put on a couple of pounds because water weight will come right back off. Like, if I just stop eating stuff with salt on it or drink more water, those kinds of things. But so those are definite benchmarks. Um,
That's really significant, Tracy. You said something right there, right? Because the average person, again, I'm saying 30 something years in the industry, most people pretty much stayed the same 5 to 10 pounds for years,
mhm,
moving that water weight around, and their body composition never really seems to change. So people keep chasing weight loss, which is why I love to use different accountability tools and distinction tools. So in this case, with the scale, which I think again is important for many people, but especially women psychologically. So you're not beating up on yourself, or you're not catastrophizing. If you see 100, let's say I'm 5'2", and people would think that I'm a lot lighter. Last week I was 135 pounds, right? I'm 5'2", so I'm a couple of inches shorter than you. But
mhm,
I noticed I change up. Remember, we just went into another session of hypertrophy for this particular cycle, which means focusing on more on muscle growth.
mhm,
So I can see a shift in my core. I can see a shift in my muscle mass, but the scale has gone up. So I know the difference with the scale. 135 pounds of what? Most people are not making that distinction. And not making that distinction, the average person that's focusing on weight loss will inevitably start to diet, or do cardio, diet, and deprive themselves of calories and nutrition, which, especially after age 35, has a reverse effect. So if you're focusing only on weight loss, it is likely you're going to lose muscle. And then the muscle, if you don't have a lot of muscle, your metabolism will shift down because muscle tissue behaves very differently in the body than adipose tissue, right? I say adipose tissue, or the technical term for fatty tissue. It's
mhm.
around on a lawn chair in your body and does nothing. It's like the house guests that don't clean up behind themselves, they don't reciprocate. You just want them to go. It does nothing but just lays around in your body. While muscle tissue behaves like Pac-Man, and it's dynamic, active tissue, and it's, as I'm sitting here, is eating your calories, right? So again, these distinctions can be very important for women. right? And when you consider how hard it is, how challenging it is to put on muscle. You have to bust your padukas to put on muscle. And many women are scared of strength training or weight training because they think they're going to get bulky. But we're not training anywhere near the volume and the weight of a professional competitor or a male, and we do not have the hormones to bulk up like that. I can think of women that do take hormones. They look very, very different. Your jaw structure starts to change, your muscle mass, because you're taking hormones for an animal. That's none of us here. We're doing all natural. But again, the scale, these distinctions of blind spots are some of the reasons why women give up or they stop, or they may not realize that they're working, doing a lot of busy work and not working effectively or efficiently. And to keep doing something, going to the gym every day and changing your clothes, and you feel like your body's not changing, that's discouraging. It's very debilitating.
Right.
Somebody said you guys are tiny. No, we're not tiny. Again, when people say, "Oh, you're tiny," or "You're this or that," that's relative. I've been like a sizable amount of weight, and if I was getting ready for a competition, people would think that I look ripped or smaller, but that's just because muscle takes up a lot less space than adipose tissue, right? If I have a garbage bag full of bricks and a garbage bag full of feathers weighing the same weight, they're going to take up totally different space. Muscle is much more compact. So I'm not in my most fit shape or whatever. I'm doing the same thing, but I'm 135 pounds at 5'2", right? With no pills, no powders, just daily movement and fruits and vegetables. But my composition will change depending really much on my training, if I'm eating real food, and if I'm eating amounts that are appropriate for my body,
Right.
really.
And I think what I would like to say to that about being tiny, or so in this weight loss journey, that's one of the things that I've found is that people, we judge ourselves and other people tend to judge us. So as I lost my weight, I tend to carry my weight in my midsection. My legs are fairly small, have always been fairly small by comparison to my body. Like I said, I started at 218, and for the majority of my weight to be, I always looked like I was pregnant all the time. I'm 55. I hope I don't get pregnant again. But so for people to say things like, as I was losing weight, for people to say things like, "Oh, you're thin, you're too thin, you're losing weight, you don't need to lose any more weight." Well, my eyes go straight to the things that I'm insecure about.
Mm.
So I still have a long way to go in the sense. But as what are the things that I've noticed, as like you were saying about changing your body composition, I could still be the same. What I'm trying to wrap my mind around is I could still be the same weight, but look totally different.
Mhm.
And my clothes are going to fit me differently. So I have gone over this past 2 years, I've gone from a size 16 or extra large or 2XLs, depending upon what I was buying, down to now buying size, the smallest size I've been in is a size six or eight or a 10.
Well, you said from 18?
From 16, 16, 18, it depended upon what it was. 16, 18, extra larges, 2XLs. I always bought extra large or 2XL shirts because my arms were bigger. So it might even fit me looser in my body, but I was trying to get into things for my arms to fit in. What in the world? So now that I've lost, now I'm wearing to a mindset to go into a store first of all, and to be able to shop in the smaller sizes, and then you put something on thinking, okay, well, this is my size, but you actually end up in a smaller size, is a whole nother mind trip that I don't think that we really kind of talk about or is addressed, or I haven't seen it addressed anywhere. And so even as other people are make comments about it, I've worked hard to do what I've done, and I'm proud of what we have accomplished. And just I have to give myself grace, and I just hope that other people can give someone else grace on their journey, whatever that journey is, because it's not easy to lose weight. It's not easy to make yourself a priority. It's not easy to change your habits, because that's all of those things I had to do. I had to change my habits of what I was eating, the way I was eating. Like I mentioned, I'm a colon cancer survivor. When the doctors kept telling me I needed to eat more fiber, I wasn't making the connection between increasing the fiber in my food and what that really looks like versus what I was being told. The doctors actually told me that I should take Metamucil every day.
You
Well,
talking about the psyllium husk mixture that your
yeah,
grandparents put in the store, the pharmacy?
exactly. Yeah. In my 30s, I wasn't doing that. I'm
So it's
50
just
now.
convenient, right?
Exactly. It's like, that doesn't make sense to me. So I know, but I didn't take the time to figure it out either. So now that I have changed and I can see all of these foods that have fiber in it, I can eat that. So recognizing that it's not easy, it isn't easy for anybody, regardless of where they are in their journey, even if it's just beginning. My encouragement would be, choose one thing and make that one change and stay consistent with that one change. It could be a small thing and just stay consistent with it.
Hmm. Yeah, definitely. So, let me ask you a question.
Sure.
So you said before you couldn't hold up your body weight or do one push-up. So I have my own perspective as a coach, but how would you say you had managed, like psychologically, like the challenges that are placed before you, like in the mornings? That first of all, it's early. It is early. It is early. It's
Yeah.
definitely early. Many people will ask me to make the workout later, but I don't, and I never will. Why? Because I like to do what works. I don't have time to waste with what doesn't work. That's I'm not gonna. I want to do what works, and I think is I pay a lot of money to shorten my learning curve. Right? I don't want something to take me 10 years that could take me a year to do.
Right.
So you're not a big complainer. So how would you say you handle, like you couldn't do one push up, right? And being challenged like that. Like what's your thought process? How have you managed the challenge, right? Because you said it takes a lot to you work hard. So walk me through like what that looks like from your perspective.
So for me, especially, okay, I'll say, if
Fine,
you
Rose.
are you presenting if you're presenting a new movement pattern, so to speak. I'm like, okay, I can get through this for the 10 or 15 count, whatever the count is. But if you tell me mentally, if you tell me at the beginning of the workout, okay, we're going to do 150 squats today, shut down, immediate shutdown. But if we do, you know, 25 squats, and then we come back and do another set of 25. Now, in my mind, I'm keeping up. So I know when we get to 150. But if so mentally, that's just really kind of the way I approach it. For me, that's the way it works. It's like I can do anything um for a short period of time, one bite at a time, one movement at a time, one set at a time. I can do it for that short period of time. Now, being a soldier, um, you call me that often. And I would say that I come in, and even fighting through that, it's like I can get through this, but sometimes it is a struggle. I have cried doing movements. I have, and cried from the perspective of, one, I really did that. That's one. The other one is, what have I signed myself up for? Why am I doing this to myself? Is another.
Welcome to my world. Like, why am I taking myself through? Why am I doing this to
Why
myself?
am I doing this? Just like the other day, I sent you a message. We did it. We did our movement practice the other day. We were working on well, we do full body. I can't say it's a particular day, but this particular day, our exercises are heavily on our legs. Well, for the next 2 days, my thighs were killing me. And I literally sent you a text and said, my thighs are killing me. What is going on? And and I was racking my brain. I was like, what did we do? It was the up and downs with the weighted vest.
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm.
Oh
But
my.
but also, in all fairness, we've been at a point now, which because I listened, that I'm a detail oriented person.
Mhm.
So it's been a while. I've been listening for your heart rate, right, to see how your body has adapted to the movement, right? So we have people at different levels, right? We
Mhm.
have a other, one of the other women. She's where you were about a year or something ago. So I listen, I ask questions to really make sure your body has adapted. And we already get stockpiled all our toys in our toy box, right?
Right.
We stockpile them in advance. So I will tell you way in advance. I always like to tell you what's coming the next season. So I told you it was coming, right?
And
So I
that's one of the things I would say I appreciate about working with you is that you do listen and you do prepare me. You recognize when it's like, oh, yeah, she wasn't ready for that. Let's try something different that's going to get us the same result, but let's try something a little bit different. I never feel like you're pushing me um too far that I can't do it. You always make it in a way that um I can achieve it. I can do this. And at the end, like, okay, I made it through. I'm good. I'm okay. I did those, what was the yeah, your burpees and all of the things. But I think I really appreciate the fact that um you are very encouraging and you do tailor the exercise. You always give different options. You talk about being listening to your body, taking a break when you need to take a break, all of the things that you literally took away every single excuse that I had for not moving. Every single one.
Well, I'm very patient, So
Very
used to come and apologize. You said, "Oh, I'm sorry, I can't." I said, "No, no, no, not a problem. Nope, nope.
patient.
Just be right where you are. You can take all the time in the world because I know where we're going. I'm
Mhm.
crystal clear. I'm like an elephant. I do not move off of a goal, and I already know long term. You have to see. One of my good friends used to say, I have to see and envision things for my child until they can see things for themselves."
Mhm.
Right. So I can see exactly where we're going with the different body types. I've had numerous clients say, if I could lose weight. And I'm thinking, of course, you can release weight in adipose tissue. Why? I'm not just thinking I know because it's been done before. I've held space for this process before, but initially you can't see it. Just like you couldn't envision yourself, right? The size of the clothes that you're in
Right.
now. And we still have a ways to go, but your body composition has changed. I already know the formula. So every person that's in front of me is a different, in the most practical sense, is a different spirit, is a different walking vessel of experiences that they're
Mhm.
coming with, different traumas, different challenges, different types of work. Each person that's standing in front of me is different. Same exercises, but we're all at different places along in our journey, which is why I don't think it makes sense to shame somebody for where they are in their journey. Right? Like I said, I'm not the hair police, I'm not the food police, but I'm not the hair or the exercise police. Why? I've had a jerry curl, the gold tooth. I've eaten every high end junk food, low end junk food. Clients don't want to believe me. I would easily be overweight and obese. That's the pattern that I'm coming from, and I gain weight very easily. I only have half of a thyroid, so I used to have a low with tons of acne. So I'm crystal clear, but I understand a lot of times the person may not be able to envision how we're going to get there, especially if we're not taking protein powders, if we're not in the gym. Some people would even say you can't gain muscle if you don't eat meat. Everybody's at a different place. So we share the planet with people that pray differently, that eat differently, my role is to hold space for you in your journey and to make exercise prescription, which is a science. There is a science to exercise selection. There's 5 million exercises. We don't need to do all of them. We want to use and select the ones that are the most appropriate, effective, and efficient. Effective, because we don't do anything without a reason. But I don't want to sit here for an hour and I'm not getting anything out of it. If I'm just doing this, I'm not getting anything out of it.
Right.
We want to choose the movement patterns, right? I invite you to consider more movement patterns in exercise, the ones that are most appropriate for us, for where we are in our life. If you're, in your 50s, or perhaps if you have injuries, you're rehabbing something, or perhaps if you're deconditioned. There's so many different things that we're not taking in consideration, and without comprehensive education, we wind up beating up on ourselves, and we just have some blind spots. If somebody would have just showed us how, and if we had some community, that can make all the difference in the world. And over time, when I used to work at certain high-end gyms, some people would complain, right? Because a lot of times I'm moving right along with the clients. I like to always put myself in the same, down at ground zero, where the clients are, to stay on the humble and not take things for granted, right? Just knowing that somebody is also pushing through with you at the same time. One time years ago, I stopped using machines. So they'll say, plus, you can look a certain kind of way because you're in a gym, even though that's not the case. But I don't use machines. Why? More people don't have a gym membership than do. Not most people don't have access to fancy equipment or to a personal trainer. And I've worked with people from this demographic economically to this demographic. None of them is right or wrong. But I know I like to think a lot of times of the women and the girls that are in my neighborhood that don't have trainers or that don't have resources. So I like to pretend if I had nothing, that is where I'm operating from. If I had nothing, how do I not give myself an excuse not to move? Because my movement practice is my therapy, right? And I also know that the consistency is a mindset, and that's the only thing that's going to yield me the results. And I know if I don't move daily, the diabetes, the heart disease, the excess adipose tissue, it doesn't make me feel good. Food is great going down in my mouth. It doesn't feel good. I know what it's like to watch quite a bit of my family members pretty much trapped in our bodies. And perhaps this is uncomfortable for us to address, especially culturally as people of Afro and Afro-Caribbean descent. And I want to make the distinction between body positivity and loving and cherishing and loving up on the body that you have. Yet I do think it's very important to be mindful at entities and companies marketing things to us that would have us be complacent with our numbers, right? A lot of us are actually in a state of crisis when it comes to diabetes, heart disease. I've had numerous amounts of people in my family with amputation as a progression of diabetes, cancer, which is linked to these different comorbidities, the heart disease, high blood pressure, and being morbidly obese. The body, the organs start shutting down, right? There's an inflammatory behavior of this excess adipose tissue. There's one thing to say that we love ourselves and to dress pretty, and that's nice, but not addressing our organs is it's catastrophic, to be quite honest with you. So I know that's often a concern of mine, that the messaging that we may not be very discerning, which can have us be very complacent and very lax, right? When it comes to making changes, right? A lot of us don't have the wiggle room to be complacent, because if I'm speaking to someone as I have before, for example, a person that was short, petite, a teacher, over 300 pounds, and I asked her, I don't want to be disrespectful to someone that's older, but has your doctor diagnosed you with diabetes or high blood pressure? No, no. So I asked her, I said, are you waiting for the diagnosis?
Right.
Some of us are just waiting. We'll say, like, my doctor said I'm all in the clear, but if we really to tap into our own divine onboard intelligence and be compassionate yet firm and honest with ourselves, if we know we weren't born with all this extra stuff around our midsection, then why would we think we're not in danger? So, but part of the narrative, it leads us to think that we're not in danger and that there could be nothing further from the truth. When I move around to different communities, the conversation is totally different. When I go into other cultures and other communities, the conversation is on prevention. The conversation is about the next generation of health, and they want to make sure they're eating healthy so that their fetuses are healthy. The conversation is around elder care, right, and how to avoid head certain things off at the past. The conversation is about how to be alive for my young wife, right? So the conversation, I think, is very, to be quite honest, remedial when it comes to certain types of populations, right? So you can let me know what your thoughts on it. But I'm very passionate about making these distinctions because many of us and our parents, when we go to the doctor and they're telling us you're in danger of being on these medications, we don't take it very seriously, or we don't know what to do with those numbers. We don't know what to do with that information. Okay, you said your blood pressure is a little high. People say it's a little high, but nothing to be concerned about. Until it is a thing to be concerned about, until now you have to take the medication. So if
Right.
you're getting that type of diagnosis, what am I supposed to do with this information? Do I eat less crackers? Do I eat more jelly? Do I do protein powders? How much exercise is enough? How much food is enough? There's so many different things and blind spots that are not um, filled in, a lot of blanks, a lot of holes left in, a lot of blind spots. Um, where we could have the whole time been getting into action and developing that consistency and that mindset. And you will be learning a lot the whole time if you are engaged in the process.
Right.
Mhm. Yeah, so I'm so happy that you're sharing with us today. So you also have on, but I don't know if you want to come on board and say anything, Stacey. And a quick thing, Tracy. I don't know if you would mind for the spot. Would you mind sharing any of your photos of your body composition changes?
Oh, I can. Where you want me to post them or show?
If you could show them, I just want to say hello really quickly to Stacy. Hey, Stacy or Lily.
Stacey, Lily as well. Both are fine.
So I was wondering if you could. Everybody's at different points along in their journey, and none of them are right or wrong. This is a life journey, and I think I'm very passionate about the fact that if I was to come over to anybody's house right now, and if I came with my roller skates, my double dutch rope, some music and a live pie and a pot of greens, we wouldn't be thinking health and fitness. We would just be having fun and enjoying ourselves, right? So I do think there's something to be said for commitment, for a community. And to be quite honest, I think it's part of our culture, right? A lot of these things, dance, movement, is one of the reasons why I love African dance and capoeira, because those forms of ancestral movement are they're very playful. There's live music, there's laughing and talking while you're sweating. So to me, that's not, I don't really consider that working out. So I call it vigorous, joyous movement. But I'm curious to know, Stacey, if you could share something about your journey.
I can say that from my journey, it's a lot of self-discovery. Um, I learned a lot about nutrition, mental health, and I think I benefited a lot because I honestly feel if I did not choose you as a coach, I would probably be bigger than I am now. And I probably would have made different decisions. So I'd say that, in terms of exercising, is beneficial for me because it helps with my mental health, um, makes me feel better. Uh, you know, the bonus for me would be weight loss, but I would say like right now, even though I am like exercising on and off, my conditioning is pretty good because a lot of people don't think I weigh a certain amount. I look smaller than what I am. Um, I honestly and truly believe that the exercising that I have been doing throughout this year has benefited me. My blood pressure is good. Um, I'm relatively healthy, but what I really take from exercising is like, for me personally, is the mental health aspect. It's therapeutic. You get in touch with your body. Um, I love the nutritional part of it too, of the coaching group, because You give us a ton of resources, ideas, and ways, of cooking food and prepping food, and there's always an option. There's always a healthier option. The education is, um I would say the education is priceless. I enjoy the fact that you hammer in certain details, um about nutrition, and then about our general health, like, our fat content, our, blood pressure, our certain organs. um
So I have
I
another
I
question
I,
for you, Stacey. Excuse me, I have another question for you, Stacey. So, um, again, we can have a tendency culturally and even as women to judge each other based on what we look like, right? And that's definitely not all. That's not everything. We are in a culture that is vanity. All of us have a little sense of vanity. That's not necessarily wrong. I can tell you personally, I can think of some women that are huge that could take me out in certain kinds of physical activities, and I've been humbled numerous times throughout my career, right? But what would you say, like, without just looking at the body, right? Because I do think that we work a lot on the mental, right? On mental, on what is the mindset of healthy and fitness, like what is driving our autopilot behaviors, right? It's easy, and you can go anywhere right now and download a list of exercises. Now you can download meal plans from your favorite personality online. Um, but what can you say, or what have you found, or what are you discovering about your mindset in terms of what is driving the actual habits um, that have us put on unhealthy weight, or that sabotage our efforts at implementing a movement practice? What can you say about, or what do you discover about your mindset?
um that's kind of a complicated question, because there's a lot to it, because, you know to build a healthy mindset, you have to be aware of yourself, your own mindset, your own goals. um I feel like I'm an example of that, because I've been on both sides, where I could be neurotic, and I'm not like I don't take the time to take care of myself via nutrition or exercising, and it's via pressures from society, work, or stressors.
Mm,
um I feel like you have to, like, acknowledge, address it, and then try to give yourself grace. And then, from just acknowledging there's challenges, and then creating a environment for yourself to be more consistent, so you can work towards a healthier version of yourself. Like sitting down and then writing down, what do you want for yourself, what kind of, like, lifestyle, what kind of healthier version you want to be that mindset, with nutrition and exercising, and that it takes time to work towards that. It's
mm,
not necessarily easy, because a lot of things can drive people not to want to, be healthy or eat right or exercise: stress from work, mental health issues, self-esteem issues, um, society in general. And
mm,
it's a challenge, and it's very difficult, for a lot of people to, like, take the time for themselves, to cut that time out of the day for themselves. If you're not taught, like, self-esteem and self-worth, you're not going to pay yourself first, and then, commit to your health. It's more than just mindset. I think it's more like you have to build, um what's the word I'm looking for? It's like when you have non-negotiables for yourself. Like,
mm,
there's some things you will not compromise on. And some people, they care more about, like, being the, like, consumerism, or looks, or money, but they don't take the, like, there's no value in their mental or their physical health. So
mm,
it's not just, you can't just it's not you can't just snap into a different mindset. You have to, like, unpack a lot of different aspects of yourself, and everybody's so different that there's a lot to go through. But at the end of the day, if your goal is to have a healthy mindset and a healthy body, it's worth it, because health is wealth. um you use your body as a vehicle, through this life, to experience the world, to experience it. It's worth it. It's I feel like a lot of people, if they realize that, if they focus on their health and their mental health, life will have more to offer because you will be fully present to experience it. Like it's worth it because we have a short time on this planet, and there's so many things that we could be doing with our body. And I feel like a lot of people are distracted or have a lot of challenges, and we don't focus on that. Is health is number one. It's important. I hope I kind of answered that.
You answered it very well, and I love when I always have like intergenerational women speaking from the different generations, right? To really see something like that really touches me because I know what it's like to be a young woman to take one of my first checks, one of my first income tax checks, and to go plunk it down. I didn't even really know what a personal trainer was, but I saw this young lady, and I was like, we both in the gym. And I was like, how come I look like this and she looks like that? And I was like, I asked around questions. Somebody said, go speak to that guy over there. And I asked him a question. He was like, well, you buy a package. I was like, okay. And I went and got my check and I gave him some money and he told me to get on a stair mill. I didn't know what a stair mill was, but that blew my mind. I learned what a stair mill was that day. But I think it really, I think quite often that I always think about what I was telling my younger self, or I think about my nieces, or what I would tell younger women in terms of, I like to tell grown folks what to do, but what would be great investments that could perhaps save a lot of time, a lot of heartache, a lot of wasted resources, right? And wasted time that you can't get back, right? A lot of the ways that we are maybe perhaps ignorantly mismanaging our time or making certain decisions has a tremendous cost, like a tremendous cost to women. And a lot of the time you cannot get back. A lot of adult decisions that we make in error and ignorance will alter the trajectory of our lives. So I think quite often you know, if women, when you're making out your budget, I would love to see a time where young women start to build into their budget mental health, your good food, and your fitness. Period is non-negotiable. That becomes your lifestyle and your mindset from a young age, and you won't have to start to make that mindset shift when it's time for you to have children, or as a mother, or when you get married. If that is already, it becomes a culture, a personal shift, and then a cultural shift. You just know, like that group of women over there, they get up early and they just take care of themselves. Like, wow, those are really fit women. Well, they put the time in for themselves, right? If we have to prioritize our budget, because again, I'm not anti makeup, though. When I think honestly of the amounts of things that are marketed to us from everybody, the amount of money. Let's say some of my girls, you're also a nail technician, right? Amongst other things. And when some of my girls tell me how much a set of tips costs, I've heard upwards of $100 for a set. I'm like, my gosh. Or even in other countries, right? When I'm traveling, for someone to be paying like $80, $45 to $85, that's groceries. And then we'll turn around and say we can't afford training, we can't afford healthy food, but we're looking good from the wrist down, the neck up, and the ankle down, right? Everything is on. There's so much money that we're spending on makeup, right? And a lot of it is to cover up an absence of health or depleted health. We have a mask to cover up our health, or to mask that we're not feeling good in our natural skin. So while I'm not anti-makeup, I think that we are all at our most attractive when we're healthy. Then you just don't have to work so hard, right? So I really long to see the day that we get that prioritizing. It doesn't have to be with me, but some kind of coaching, because some people may not have mothers or parents that are present or available, right? Or access to, haven't had certain types of education, right? I can think of numerous women who told me their mothers did not want them in the kitchen cooking, right? Wanted them to focus on school, or you may not have the support. So if you don't have it, to invest in yourself when it comes, and I would say long term, figure out what works for your budget, but to put your physical fitness in your budget for a myriad of reasons. So you're not a sitting duck when it comes to self-defense. You should be able to run, jump, kick, and punch. The types of feel-good hormones that you're getting from inside your body, and the dopamine hit that you're getting is so much less expensive than the drugs that are being blurted out to us on the internet that really rob you of your vitality. I've seen in some of my clients that drink the most expensive wines. It ages the skin. It's a known toxin, right? We're spending all this money on all this makeup, yet everything we're putting into the body is drying out the spine, drying out the body, clogging up the colon, and depositing endless amounts of chemicals several times a day into the body. Yet we're totally befuddled. We have no reason, no clue as to why we have cancer. So I just really want to acknowledge you as a young woman for, I know what that's like, for investing um, in yourself and trading off other things for what's important to you and prioritizing your mental health. And understand it's a long road. Once you start to accept some of these things, you can be about the business, right? It takes long. It's uncomfortable. I'm gonna sweat. I'm gonna sweat out my hair. It's probably not gonna take me 3 months. If I'm gonna sustain a healthy body composition. There's no shortage of people willing to tell you good things about your self-sabotaging behaviors and just keep you on the whole stroll or keep you on, paying endlessly, right? But thank you for sharing that, Stacey. So, Tracey, are you going to share with us some of your transformation?
Yeah, I was trying to see if I could pull up some. I don't know if this is going to work. So let me try to see if it'll let me share screen. Two monitors, full screen. Okay, let me see if it'll let me share screen. Y'all get ready to get it all.
So Tracey is gracious enough to share her conversation. I'm extremely humble because I held space for several people.
Can you see me?
Times, yeah, for their transformation. So
wait,
you can see it. Yeah. Well,
view. Can you see that?
Yeah,
okay.
I see it. I'm sharing it on the screen.
Oh, bless. That is the first day I started working with you. So I was
and this is why we also keep records. Some people don't like to keep records or food journals. I highly encourage people to, well, there are different accountability tools you can use, but to keep records to document your journey, which is really going to help you not go back.
So this was me in July of 2021. Can you see that one?
Yeah.
And then that was me in July of 2022, same dress. You can see it's way bigger on me. So, and then I don't know, fast forward. I know I'm going fast. I'm trying to see. So you saw the first picture.
Oh, wow.
And that's where I am now at.
Oh my gosh, you look at you got so many years, my God.
So 155, 160.
And your highest weight was what?
My highest weight was 218.
Wow.
So
oh, wow.
All of my pictures, I know it's going fast. So here.
Oh my God.
Transformation.
The same sweatshirt.
Same sweatshirt. So December 21, I was at 215, and November 22, I was at 165.
So wait, that's 1 year.
Yeah. So basically 1 year, same sweatshirt. So you see what the arms look like. Where I was saying that I used to buy things to get my arms in it.
Oh, wow.
So you see the difference there. But yeah, so I have a whole album of all my little transportation.
Oh, wait a minute. I like that colorful outfit. That's when you came to visit in Belize, is it?
No, this one I was actually in Vegas. So on my journey, I've taken several trips, and I have Closet has made videos, and I've worked out wherever I was. So I would take my heart rate monitor with me and my workout clothes and I would work out.
Oh my gosh, look at that picture of the jeans and the t-shirt. So,
Jeans and a t-shirt. So that was oh, I wrote on there. So I was the size 10 jeans, the large shirt that I wasn't able to wear for like 3 years. I'd gotten the shirt as a size large, but I couldn't wear it. So this is the first time I was able to get in it. You can see it's a little bit bigger. And then the bracelet that was on my arm, when that was given to me, it was too tight for me to wear. If somebody had made it for me and it was too tight for me to wear. So
wow. So your most challenging area for you, I think, concern was your midsection.
my midsection.
Yeah. Mhm.
So that's my midsection. Well, that's in the pants. Y'all getting it all. Y'all getting it all because I don't know how to separate that. So yeah, it's my midsection.
Mhm. But you know what? I think sometimes we're in a safe space to put ourselves out there. I think can be very important to neutralize a lot of the narrative of shame that is
Right.
projected onto us about our bodies. Like, what do we have to be ashamed of, right? The very fact that we be ashamed that our bodies are shaped different. Wow, that's a tremendous. So basically, your bodies, as your body composition is shifting, you're metabolizing all of that. Oh, wow, that's in belief.
Yeah.
Woo! That's fantastic.
And Belize.
And this is someone that was not athletic. This is a mom. This is somebody that's working full time. And so one of the biggest distinctions of making a decision, again, she's sleeping in her workout clothes. Some people might think that's extreme. I'm right there with you. You talking my language. When I want to get something, I'm gonna get it. I will go to sleep in the workout. I know how to get up early. I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna get it. But that's really tremendous.
Yeah.
That is really tremendous. How does it? Did your body feel lighter? Do you notice? Like, did your body feel any different?
Yes, definitely.
Wow.
I'm trying to see where else. Yeah, y'all got it all.
Shape your arm.
My arms. So there, let me see. Those jeans are size 10, 8. No, I think those are 8.
And what was your size before in jeans?
Oh, 16.
Wow. So this really speaks to body composition, right? And our focus here is functional training because we're working out at home, right? So
That
you
was
weren't
me.
born inside of me. Oh wow.
That was me before.
Oh wow. Oh wow. Yeah, so we focus a lot on functional training, right? I like to make that distinction because we're not using machines. And we're focusing on what I like to ask quite often, what do you need your body to be able to do for you in the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years? How do you need your body to be able to perform, right? What do you need your body to do? Can you move in an emergency, right? If there's an emergency, I'm not going back in the emergency to try to grab no hair products. That's not a priority for me, right? I want to be able to defend myself. I'm not a man, but I want to be able to defend myself. I want to be pain free as long as possible. I want to be independent as long as possible, right? So that I can care for myself and make decisions. This is, I would call this medical insurance, I would consider this health insurance, right? And we're making daily deposits really into the 401k of your health and your vitality. It doesn't come out of a vacuum out of nowhere. As you can see, you have to sweat your badukas off and you have to really work to put on muscle. So we're not dealing with sarcopenia. For those of you that don't know what sarcopenia is, after age 35, usually around 35, some people may be experiencing it earlier. Though it's a dramatic loss of muscle exponentially every year. So we're losing muscle every year from all of this sitting down is changing our species. And then as much as people are fixated on the buttocks and the glutes, I think it's very interesting that folks are more focused on the aesthetic, but not the function. Your glutes, I like to say, are just as important to your heart, right? Most of the population is experiencing some type of back pain. If your glutes are flat or they're just not round for whatever your body type is, that means likely they're flat and they're atrophy because you haven't asked them to work, right? And you don't necessarily have to go into a gym and do heavy hip thrusts with the Olympic bar with different plates on it. That's not everybody's reality. It looks good on social media, but that's not everybody's reality. That's not sustainable for the average person, right? But there is a lot that you can do from your home. Again, if you have enough space for an exercise mat, there's a lot you can do to administer. Some people say exercise, but I would say deeply therapeutic, vigorous, joyous, though challenging movement to yourself every day, which is going to give you some chemicals, some feel good chemicals in your own body that are not toxic. Rose said, let me go on ahead, get me a beat rate monitor, a heart rate monitor, and you want to get a really good, effective model. I have a list of my favorite things online. As somebody that's been using heart rate monitors for years. Once something gets popular, somebody introduced to the market. So I've had several people buy fitness trackers thinking they were buying a heart rate monitor. There is a difference, right? The fitness tracker is kind of designed, I think, to get people up and moving and sitting down too much, right? But if I'm walking and walking and walking for hours and hours, that's great. You're moving, though that is not strength training. And the strength training is really a game changer in terms of your body composition, unless you're walking up and down hills, right? To change, to make it more of a kind of like more strength training. But there is a difference again to exercise selection. And there is a distinction between a fitness tracker and a heart rate monitor. Some of them today, you can find some models that are combos. But I think it perhaps could be a better investment to go with one that's made by a reputable company. They're popping up. I see them all in Central America. They're popping up heart rate monitors, but some of them, the numbers are very skewed, right? I can go inside the gym, put a heart rate monitor, and I can see a difference, for example, of like 60, 70 calories between my heart rate monitor and what's on the machine. That's a big difference. And when you know how hard you have to work, that's a significant difference, 50 or 60 or 70 calories, right? So that's big on comprehensive education. So you don't want to waste your time. As women, we're lucky if you have 20 minutes, half an hour, or an hour max. That's enough to really transform your body. It's not every day that you need to do heavy strength training. Some days can be different types of recovery workouts. Though I do recommend that people have some kind of a movement practice that they can do daily, even if it's on the weekends of walking. But we have a feel good conversation. Getting into action and getting into consistent action is a whole another ball game. And support, I like to do it work. Support works. Accountability and accountability partners work. Accountability tools work. Real food works. Education works, right? Understanding or having somebody to assess your blind spots works. So you're not taking 10 years to accomplish something that you could accomplish 1 year or 2 years, right? So that you have something that's sustainable. Who wants to be in shape for 3 months or 6 months and, I got to shape that time, and then you go right back to square one? I don't want to do that. I'm looking at the long haul, right? Into my 60s, my 70s, my 80s. My intention is still to be able to move, right? But if you're deconditioned, you haven't been moving, then you want to introduce that with some common sense, right? With some education, so that you're not hurting yourself or jacking up your joints, so you have longevity in the game. But I want to thank you so much, Tracey, for sharing that with us. I've been looking forward to having a conversation with you for a long time, because I feel like it would really motivate a lot of women who may be depressed. They feel like I'm too old, or beating up on themselves, I'm too fat, or I'm too this or that. And the excuses have you on the ropes, hemmed up and paralyzed from getting into action. A little bit of action consistently can go a long way.
Right. But thank you for having me. Thank you for working with me, holding space, for allowing me to show up perfectly imperfect.
Yes, and we don't need perfection. We just need the consistency, and that's something that you cultivate over time. Rose said, "Thank you for this conversation, ladies. My book club started. I'm gonna catch the rest of you." Thank you, Rose. Yeah. So us sharing, hopefully, part of my intention with this channel is hopefully we're leveraging the internet, right? You can use this internet to sedate yourself and numb out, and sometimes, okay, we want some entertainment.
Well, I don't know what happened.
Did she fall off?
Yeah, she went off. I don't know what happened. She froze and then she went off.
Mhm.
It's still recording though. You ready for Christmas? Do you celebrate?
No, I do celebrate Christmas, but no. I'm from a really large family. I'm
Okay.
required to help to cook, and there's like how many grandkids now? Okay, 14.
Oh
Too
wow.
many.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's a lot of them. So two different houses I got to go to cook and help out.
Okay. Well, that'll be fun. You can. What's your favorite dish to cook?
Honestly, oxtail.
Really? Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, Central America Wi-Fi over here. So went out for a second. So I just wanted to invite women, encourage women to consider reframing your narrative, right? Reframing your narrative works, right? Perhaps instead of thinking of exercise, I invite you to think of a daily personal movement practice. Personal in that you cater your movement practice towards your lifestyle. I recommend getting it out of the way first thing in the morning, but if you absolutely can't, to really commit to uh, designating a time on your calendar that is a standing appointment, that is a non-negotiable, to spend time with yourself, right? Not standing yourself up on a date. Paying yourself first with the non-renewable resource of your time. Paying yourself first, right? Creating some type of community for yourself, or if that's a coach, a positive community, but you want to get the consistency and then the education in. So I want to thank you again, Stacey and Tracey, for really sharing your experience. Hopefully, more women are encouraged to enact these lifestyle, leverage lifestyle practices, a daily personal movement practice, peaceful consumption, food that demonstrates that it loves you back, that is not abusive and leaving you with a proverbial black eye, right? And garden slash nature therapy. So with that, I'm going to say create a great day on purpose. You're welcome to comment respectfully. Perhaps share this with someone who could use some motivation or some inspiration, and we will see you soon. Take
Okay.
care.
Thank you. Bye bye.